And a certain woman which had an issue of blood 12 years, and had suffered many things of many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and was nothing better, but rather grew worse, when she had heard of Jesus, came in the press behind and touched his garment. For she said, if I may touch but his clothes, I shall be whole. And straightway the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of that plague. And Jesus, immediately knowing himself that virtue had gone out of him, turned him about in the press and said, who touched my clothes? And his disciples said unto him, thou seest the multitude thronging thee, and sayest thou, who touched me? And he looked round about to see her that had done this thing. But the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what was done in her, came and fell down before him and told him all the truth. And he said unto her, daughter, thy faith have made thee whole. Go in peace and be whole of thy plague. I want to use for a subject, surviving the storm. Surviving the storm. Thank you, ushers. Look at your neighbor and tell them, I am a storm survivor.
Storm survivor.
Now look at them like you really mean it. Look at them like you really mean it. And tell them one more time. Tell them, I am a storm survivor.
Survivor.
See, you can't tell them that if you ain't never been through that.
Amen. 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 Hey.
See, you can't say that if God ain't never delivered you from anything. Let me ask you real quick before we get started with this message. Have God ever did anything for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now, look here. Since we done did that, can I just get one thing out of the way? Okay. Listen. If I was to ask you whose side are you on, what you gonna tell me? Because see, I'm on the Lord's side. I just want to make sure I'm preaching to the right folk in here. I just want to make sure, because when I talk about being a storm survivor, you might think that you did that. Amen. You might think because of how strong you are, how much money you got, you might think that you survived that storm on your own. Amen. The word storm, used as an adjective, means turmoil, means disturbance, means commotion. The word survive means perseverance. Amen. Means to endure. Amen. So it's safe to say if you're a storm survivor, you have endured some turmoil. You have endured some commotion. You have persevered through some disturbance. Have I got a witness here? Amen. The last couple of years have, or should I say the last few years have proved to bring about some storms in some people's lives. Amen. Hurricane Sandy just recently went up the East Coast, causing major damage in everything in its path. Amen. Hurricane Isaac, and some of you remember this, amen, was devastating to a number of people living in Mobile County in southern Mississippi and in Louisiana. Amen. Some of you might remember also the tornadoes that went through Alabama. Amen. Tearing up everything up through that way. Amen. The state of Texas encountered massive flooding, leaving lots of people homeless, and some even suffered a total loss of everything that they own. Have I got a witness here? Amen. Many businesses went bankrupt, and ultimately was the cause of people losing their jobs, which placed a financial burden on countless numbers of households throughout America. Amen. There are many songs, brother, that we associate with our feelings when we're going through storms. Amen. Just to name a few, like a ship that's tossed and driven, battered by an angry sea. Y'all gonna help me this morning? When the storms of life are raging and fear is falling on me. How about this one? Amen. I've been through the storm too long. Have I got a witness here? Amen. There's a storm out on the ocean, and it's moving this old way. Do I have one witness in here this morning? Amen. If your soul is not got anchored in Jesus, it will surely drift away, amen. Maybe those ain't too familiar to some of y'all young people. I know they're older songs and they may be not familiar, but so let me help you out with a secular song. Maybe we can relate to that one. It feels like stormy weather. Since me and my baby not together, y'all ain't gonna say amen. I've discovered that in life itself, that there's different kinds of storms that we go through, and some even on a daily basis, amen. The obvious storm is when it's thundering and lightning outside and it's raining, amen. That's obvious storm, amen. But when sickness hit our bodies, or we have death in the family, that's a storm, amen. When our month is constantly longer than our money, amen, you could look at that as being a storm, amen. In our homes, when we constantly argue over things that neither the husband nor wife got control over, but we still arguing back and forth, we're going through a storm, amen. But I believe, bro, mentioned that some storms in our lives we cause on ourselves. I can't get no help into this morning. When you go out and get drunk, and you decide to drive, and the police pull you over and take you downtown, amen. Touch your neighbor and tell them you caused that storm, amen. When you go over to the casino and spend all your little money that you make throughout the week, amen, knowing that you got bills at the house, knowing that you got a car payment, the electric bill due, amen, you got a mortgage payment due, amen. Touch your neighbor and tell them one more time you caused that storm, amen. Can I just give you one more system here, amen? When you find yourself by yourself because the one you was with ain't treated like they supposed to be treated, to make somebody mad at you this morning, amen. You caused that storm, amen. Tell your neighbor one more time, amen. I am a storm survivor.
Yes, Lord. Yes.
But one thing I found out. That regardless to how big the storm is, the tsunami that hit Japan, the earthquake that hit Haiti, amen, Hurricane Ivan just a few years ago came through here and wreaked havoc through Pensacola, and Hurricane Katrina not long after that tore up New Orleans, amen. Regardless to how big the storm is that came through, regardless to how big it was, one thing is for certain, that storm passed away.